Archangel Michael says, "Hear this message that has been stirred in the heavens and sent down with urgency, for the Lord himself is leaning close to you in this very hour, and his voice carries weight that no storm can silence, his hand stretches out with strength that no fear can undo, and his spirit hovers around your dwelling like a flame that cannot be extinguished, declaring that you are not forgotten, you are not lost. And you are not left to walk through these nights in weakness, because you are chosen, guarded, and loved with an everlasting love." Type 555 to receive miracles. This is not a word of chance, nor is it a fleeting whisper meant to be overlooked, for the hour has been marked by the Lord as a time of awakening, a moment when your heart will be stirred and your eyes lifted toward the truth that your life is not bound by the weight of trouble, but secured in the care of the Almighty, who has seen every step, every tear, and every unspoken cry, and who now sends this prophetic word to remind you that even in the shadows, his light has always been surrounding you. Like this video and subscribe to this channel if you love sharing God's Word. The Spirit of God declares that tonight carries significance, not because the number of hours holds power, but because His presence chooses the time to speak, and He has chosen this hour to pour peace into your home, to silence the restless thoughts that trouble you, and to declare over you that the problems of tomorrow cannot defeat the power of His mercy that surrounds you today. And as this message is released, let your heart be still and your spirit receptive, for heaven has drawn near to remind you that you are under divine covering. The Lord has sent forth His angels to stand around you as a shield, and though your eyes may not see them, your heart will feel the atmosphere shift with their nearness, bringing calm to the storms of fear, quiet to the noise of doubt, and courage to the trembling places of your soul, and they are not standing idly but are positioned with holy authority, ensuring that no darkness may enter, no danger may overtake, and no threat may rise without first passing through the hands of the one who has claimed you as His own. Type yes to affirm. Do not think it strange that you have walked through seasons of sorrow, for the Lord is showing you now that those sorrows were not signs of abandonment but the soil from which greater strength has grown, and though you did not see His hand in the pain, He was there, gathering every broken piece, weaving them together with threads of mercy, and preparing you to stand stronger in this very hour, because every valley you walked through was shaping you, and every burden you carried was being transformed into testimony that you would one day share. Do not leave early, listen until the end, for God has something prepared only for you. The prophetic word tonight is this: you are not stepping into disaster but into discovery, discovery of how deep the love of God runs, discovery of how near His presence has always been, and discovery of how mighty His hand is to deliver you. And while the world may tremble at uncertainty, your heart shall be steadied by assurance, because the voice of the Lord has risen above every other voice, declaring that your home is protected, your life is shielded, and your future is already written with the ink of His eternal promise. The hour of 11 will not pass without meaning, for it is the time chosen to remind you of the covering you live under, the promise that surrounds you, and the hand that will not let you fall. And while many hearts may grow faint when trials approach, yours will be lifted, because you will remember this word spoken over you, and you will know that the God who sent His angel to deliver it is the same God who holds you now and forever, and His faithfulness will not falter. Even as you read these words, Let peace settle upon you like a mantle, for the prophetic announcement is not one of despair but of hope, not one of fear but of love, and not one of endings but of beginnings, and this beginning is the dawning of a greater awareness of God's presence, where every fear that haunted you loses its grip, every doubt that plagued you fades into silence, and every shadow that tried to follow you is chased away by the brightness of His glory. Receive this message as a seal upon your heart, a divine reminder that no matter what comes, you are under the wings of the Almighty, you are guarded by His angels, and you are beloved by His Son, and this truth shall carry you not only tonight but into tomorrow and every day after, for it is not the kind of truth that fades with time, it is eternal, unshaken, and forever alive, just as His love for you is eternal, unshaken, and forever alive. And as this prophetic word comes to its close, let your soul be steady and your heart be calm, for heaven has spoken, the Lord has assured you, and His messenger has delivered it, and the sound of this word will echo in your spirit long after the hour has passed, reminding you with every breath you take that you are chosen, you are safe, and you are deeply loved, now and always. Type 777 if you walk by faith. Archangel Michael says, imagine a soul walking through a vast valley, a valley where shadows seem to stretch endlessly and the ground beneath each step feels uncertain, yet even in that place of silence and struggle, the eyes of heaven are fixed upon that journey, and the Father is watching with tenderness, ensuring that not a single step is taken alone, because His hand reaches into the very depths of that valley to guide, to comfort, and to lift the one who feels weary, reminding them that, even in the loneliest places, they are never unseen and never forgotten. There was a time when the road before you felt broken, when the weight of burdens bent your shoulders low, and when the night seemed so heavy that morning felt far away, yet as you walked, there was always a quiet presence beside you, unseen yet unmistakable, a whisper that kept you moving forward, and though you thought it was your own strength carrying you, tonight you are reminded that it was the Lord Himself who walked with you, placing His strength where yours failed, and His peace where your heart was trembling. The journey has not been easy, for there were mountains that rose high and rivers that seemed impossible to cross, and each trial felt like another wall standing against you, but as you look back, you will see the fingerprints of God pressed into the very path you walked, for every time you thought you would fall, He lifted you, and every time you thought you were lost, He guided you, and now this message comes as a story written by His hand, declaring that the same God who carried you through yesterday is the same God who will carry you through the days to come. When the hour of 11 arrives, it is not a moment meant to frighten you, but a reminder that the story of your life is unfolding with purpose, that the author of creation is still writing your chapters, and that He has not left your pages unfinished, for He has prepared blessings beyond the hardships, healing beyond the wounds, and peace beyond the storms, and this very moment has been marked to awaken your heart, so you may see clearly that your journey is not random but guided by love that never falters. In the quiet of your path, angels have been sent to walk alongside you, their wings brushing softly against the unseen air, their presence steadying your steps when the ground shook beneath you, and their watchful eyes ensuring that dangers you never knew existed were turned away before they could reach you. And while you may not have seen them, tonight you are told that they have been with you every mile, every valley, and every climb, keeping you safe under the command of the one who calls. You his child. The story continues not with despair but with hope, for though storms have passed through your life, none have destroyed you, and though nights have grown long, the dawn has always returned, and tonight heaven speaks to remind you that this is not the end of your journey but the unfolding of a greater chapter, where what was once heavy will become light, where what once broke you will be turned into strength, and where what once frightened you will become the very place you discover how near God's love truly is. Type 1414 to step into divine protection. Every scar you carry tells a part of your story, but those scars are not marks of defeat, they are proof of survival, proof that God's hand has never left you, proof that His mercy has always been stronger than the weight of suffering, and now He declares through this message that your scars will shine not as reminders of pain but as testimonies of His faithfulness, testifying that no valley was walked alone, no burden was carried in vain, and no moment of sorrow was overlooked by His compassionate heart. The journey ahead will not be free of challenges, but it will be filled with grace for each one, and when future problems rise like shadows on the path, remember that you do not walk into them unprepared, for God has already walked ahead, preparing safe passage, placing strength in your spirit, and assigning His angels to your side, so that what once would have crushed you will now become a stepping stone leading you higher, and what once caused fear will now reveal the victory of His promises unfolding. So let this part of the story rest in your heart like a guiding flame, illuminating the truth that you are never without help, never without direction, and never without love, and as the clock moves toward the hour mentioned, remember that it is not an ending but a reminder, a moment chosen to draw your attention upward, to remind you of the journey already walked, and to assure you that the road ahead is not traveled alone. For the same God who wrote your beginning has already secured your ending with hope. And as this chapter closes, let your soul be comforted and your spirit be lifted, for the narrative of your life is being written by hands that cannot fail, and the story being told over you is not one of loss but of love, not one of despair but of deliverance, and not one of abandonment but of belonging, and this truth will follow you as surely as the dawn follows night, carrying you with peace, surrounding you with angels, and reminding you that your journey is guided by the eternal love of the Lord who calls you His own. Archangel Michael says, "May these words rise like a prayer lifted into the heavens, carrying with them both the weight of your struggles and the certainty of God's unshakable love, for tonight the Father desires that you not only hear His promises but feel them resting upon your spirit, calming your fears, and reminding you that you are embraced by mercy that does not end. For even now the Spirit of God surrounds you as a covering, filling the atmosphere of your home with peace that no shadow can remove." Type Amen if you trust in God, and share this heart-touching video with 7 loved ones to open the doors of blessings and miracles. Father in heaven, let your presence fall like gentle rain upon this soul, soaking into every weary place, refreshing every broken corner, and washing away the heaviness of fear that has lingered too long, for you have promised to be near to the ones who call upon you, and tonight you are closer than breath, nearer than heartbeat, moving within these walls, speaking through the silence, and assuring your beloved child that they are safe within your care. Lord, where fear has built its walls, let them now crumble under the weight of your peace, for fear cannot stand in the presence of perfect love, and your love tonight is flowing like a river, wide and unstoppable, filling every space, touching every heart, and lifting every burden, so that what once felt impossible to endure becomes light in your hands, and what once seemed too heavy to carry becomes transformed into strength through the power of your Spirit. Type 1010 if you trust in God's timing. God of mercy, you see the hours that weigh heavily upon your child, you know the struggles that lie hidden within their heart, and you know the silence that often feels unbearable, yet in this moment you are speaking gently, declaring that the coming hour is not to be feared but to be embraced, for it is a reminder that you are still in control, still on the throne, and still writing every chapter of their life with wisdom, compassion, and endless grace. Lord, send forth your angels to stand guard around this home, let them carry swords of light that cut through the shadows, let them build a shield of peace that no darkness can penetrate, and let their presence be felt even now as a calm that settles deep into the spirit, assuring your child that they are never unprotected, for heaven itself watches over them, and your command ensures that no harm can touch what you have already claimed and sealed with love. Father, the scars of the past still whisper lies into the heart, telling them that they are broken, unworthy, and forgotten, but tonight I pray that your truth will silence those lies, that your love will speak louder, declaring that they are chosen, redeemed, and forever cherished, and that no wound is beyond your healing hand, no mistake is beyond your forgiveness, and no sorrow is beyond the reach of the joy that you are ready to pour into their life. God of strength, I pray that courage will rise within them as the hour approaches, not courage rooted in their own power but courage born from your Spirit, courage that remembers that every storm has an ending, every night gives way to dawn, and every trial carries within it the seed of testimony, for you never allow suffering to be wasted, but you turn it into soil where faith grows stronger, deeper, and more unshakable, and tonight that faith is being planted anew in their heart. Lord, breathe peace into their mind, quiet the restless thoughts, silence the echoes of fear, and fill their spirit with assurance that their tomorrow is secure in you, for you have already walked ahead, already prepared provision, already written victory, and already sealed their life with blessing, and nothing that comes will surprise you, nothing that rises will defeat you, and nothing that threatens will ever overcome the love that surrounds them now and always. Father, let your presence be their shelter tonight, let it be the blanket that covers them, the shield that protects them, and the fire that warms their heart, and as the hour of 11 comes, let it not bring trembling but comfort, let it not bring despair but hope, and let it not bring fear but the deep awareness that you are closer than ever, whispering into their soul that they are not alone, they are not forgotten, and they are not without help, for you are their refuge, their strength, and their everlasting peace. And as this prayer rests upon them like a holy fragrance, let their heart be still, their mind be calm, and their spirit be lifted, knowing that heaven has spoken, angels are watching, and you, Lord, are holding them in arms that will never release, for this night is sacred, this message eternal, and this truth unshakable, that they are loved, chosen, and forever safe within your care. Type 888 to open doors of abundance. Archangel Michael says, "Let me guide your heart step by step, for the Lord desires that you do not carry fear about this hour but instead learn how to rest in His presence, and the first lesson to hold is that time itself cannot harm you, because time is held in the hands of God, and when He marks a moment as sacred, it is not to frighten you but to draw your attention toward Him, reminding you that His covering has always been upon your life and will never be removed. You must understand that when the Father speaks, His words are never empty, for every word carries power, every word carries purpose, and every word carries promise, and tonight His message to you is this: do not let your heart be troubled by what lies ahead, because He has already gone before you, preparing strength for your weakness, light for your darkness, and peace for your storms. And if you will hold this truth close, you will begin to walk in calmness even when shadows try to surround you. Learn this also: the struggles you face are not punishments, but opportunities for your faith to grow stronger, for when your strength feels small, God's strength rises within you, and when your path feels blocked, He creates a way forward. And though you may not always see His hand at work, you must trust that it is always present, shaping, guiding, and protecting you, because the Father does not abandon His children, and His love is not withdrawn when trials come, but becomes even more evident as it carries you through them. The angels who stand near your home are not there by accident. They are stationed by command, and their purpose is to remind you that you are not walking alone, for heaven itself has invested in your journey, surrounding you with guardians that you cannot see but can surely feel. And if you listen closely to the peace settling within you right now, you will know that their presence is real, for that stillness is not of this world, but a gift sent from above to calm your heart and strengthen your spirit. Another truth to keep in mind is this: the hour of 11 is not meant to mark disaster but to mark awareness. It is an appointed time where God desires that you pause and recognize His nearness, because when you become aware of His presence, fear loses its grip, doubt loses its voice, and peace takes root in your heart. And the more you practice this awareness, the more you will find that even when troubles come, they no longer hold the same power over you, for your focus will be set firmly on the One who holds all things. You must also remember that scars do not define you. They are reminders of survival, reminders that the Lord has carried you through valleys that seemed impossible, and reminders that His mercy has always been greater than your pain. And instead of viewing them as signs of weakness, learn to see them as lessons of strength, for each one testifies that you are still here, still standing, and still covered by love that refused to let you fall. And this awareness will keep your heart steady when new challenges appear. Consider, too, that problems are not sent to destroy you but to prepare you, for God allows nothing into your life that He has not already measured and transformed into something that can serve your good. And if you will hold this truth, you will begin to see trials not as punishments but as steps in your growth, steps that lead you higher, steps that deepen your faith, and steps that strengthen your soul, until you realize that every obstacle is only another opportunity to witness the faithfulness of the Lord. Type 1212 if you believe God is guiding you. The teaching of this night is simple yet profound. Do not fear the future, for your future is not unknown to God. He has already written it, He has already prepared it, and He has already filled it with moments where His presence will shine. And though difficulties may come, they will pass, but His love will remain, unbroken and unchanging. And this love is what you must hold on to, for it will be your anchor in storms, your shelter in darkness, and your strength in weakness. So let your heart learn this final truth, that peace is not the absence of trials but the presence of God. And as you rest tonight, let this peace cover you like a soft blanket, reminding you that you are safe, reminding you that you are seen, and reminding you that nothing can separate you from the love of the Father who has called you his own. And when the hour passes, remember this lesson, and carry it into tomorrow. For the same God who guards you tonight will guard you always. And as this part of the message closes, let your spirit be still, your heart be calm, and your mind be steady, for you have been taught what heaven desires you to know, that fear has no place where love is present, that doubt has no voice where peace is spoken, and that despair has no power where God's promises stand. And tonight those promises are alive, surrounding you, protecting you, and assuring you that you are forever safe in his care. Archangel Michael says, "Let your heart listen closely, for the voice of the Lord moves tonight like the wind that stirs across the waters, unseen by the eye yet felt by the soul, whispering through the stillness that you are covered by a love as vast as the oceans, as strong as the mountains, and as steady as the rising sun, and just as no storm can stop the dawn from breaking, nothing can prevent his mercy from reaching you. For his mercy flows unending, covering your life like waves that never cease upon the shore." There have been moments when the storms of life roared loudly, when the thunder of fear shook your heart and the lightning of worry flashed across your mind, yet through every storm the Lord was present like the steady ground beneath your feet, holding you firm even when the winds threatened to break you, and though you thought you would fall, he anchored you in his care, and tonight he reminds you that no storm has the final word, for his peace is like a rainbow appearing after the rain, promising that trouble will always give way to blessing. The Father's love can be seen in the sunrise, for just as morning light spills across the horizon after the night, his hope spills into your soul after seasons of sorrow, and though the night may have been long, his light always returns, warming your heart, guiding your steps, and filling you with the strength to begin again. And tonight that light is rising within you, chasing away the shadows that tried to linger, reminding you that darkness can never silence the dawn, and despair can never silence the hope that comes from God's eternal love. Type 333 to welcome blessings. Your life can be compared to a tree planted by streams of water, sometimes shaken by winds and weighed down by storms, yet never uprooted because its roots run deep, and those roots are your faith, nourished by the living presence of God, who waters you with grace in every season. And though branches may bend and leaves may fall, the tree stands because the roots are strong, and so it is with you, for you are planted in the soil of God's love, and his Spirit is the water that keeps you alive, even when drought surrounds you. Consider the river that flows without end, winding through valleys, cutting through stone, and bringing life wherever it passes, for the love of God is that river, unstoppable, uncontainable, and always moving toward you. And just as rivers create paths where none existed, his mercy carves a way through the hardest parts of your journey, shaping your story, refreshing your spirit, and ensuring that life continues to bloom in places where you once thought all was barren. And tonight that river of love flows into your home, washing away fear, cleansing sorrow, and filling your heart with renewal. The problems that rise before you may feel like mountains, tall and unmovable, yet mountains too bow before the hand of the Creator, for the one who shaped them is greater still, and he has promised that no mountain can stand in the way of his will. And tonight he assures you that the obstacles ahead will not destroy you, for his strength will lift you higher, His Spirit will guide your steps around them, and His presence will carry you over them, until you find yourself standing in a place where the view is clear, the air is pure, and the horizon shines with promise. In the stillness of night, when stars fill the sky with light, remember that each star is a reminder of God's promises, countless and everlasting, and just as the stars do not vanish even when hidden by clouds, His promises do not disappear when troubles come, they remain above you, shining steadily, waiting for the clouds of fear to part so that you may see clearly what has always been true, that His word is faithful, His mercy endures, and His love is constant, guiding you with a light that no darkness can extinguish. So as the hour of 11 draws near, let your heart not tremble but rest like calm waters after a storm, for the presence of God is descending like dew upon your spirit, refreshing you with peace, cleansing you with mercy, and filling you with strength. And even if winds rise and shadows move across your path, you will stand secure, for your foundation is not in fragile sand but in the eternal rock who never shifts, never cracks, and never fails, and upon this rock your life is built, safe and steady in every season. Take comfort also in the cycle of creation, for just as winter gives way to spring and barren trees bloom once again, so too your seasons of sorrow will give way to seasons of joy, and the Lord assures you that your story is not locked in perpetual night, but is moving steadily toward brighter days, and every season of pain will be replaced by a season of healing, every season of loss by a season of gain, and every season of despair by a season of laughter, for the Creator of time has already ordained your restoration. And as this part of the message comes to its close, let the imagery of creation remind you of the truth. Rivers will flow, mountains will bow, stars will shine, dawn will rise, and seasons will change, and through it all the love of God will remain constant, unbroken, and eternal, covering you like the sky covers the earth, surrounding you like the air fills your lungs, and holding you like the ground supports your every step. And this love will carry you tonight, tomorrow, and always, until you see with your own eyes the fullness of His glory. Type 3030 if you believe Jesus lives in your heart. Archangel Michael says, "Let your heart listen to this testimony of God's faithfulness, for the story of your life has never been one of abandonment but one of constant rescue, steady guidance, and unshakable love, and even though your memory may cling to the hardships that felt unbearable, heaven now reminds you that in every trial, whether seen or unseen, the hand of the Father was present, carrying you when you were too weak to move forward, protecting you when you were unaware of danger, and lifting you up when you thought you would fall beyond repair. There was a night when you felt utterly alone, when silence seemed louder than any word of comfort, and you believed your prayers had vanished into emptiness. Yet the truth is that every word was heard, every tear was caught, and even as you thought nothing was changing, God was already moving, sending strength into your heart, clearing obstacles before you, and preparing blessings that would not appear until later. And tonight He calls you to remember that moment, not as a story of despair but as proof of His hidden presence that never left your side. Think back also to the times when provision came unexpectedly, when help arrived at the very hour it was most needed, and when peace washed over you even though circumstances did not improve, for those were not coincidences, they were testimonies of the Father's hand, shaping events, guiding people, and weaving together outcomes that showed you His love was active, His care was real, and His promises were alive. And each of those moments now stands as a stone of remembrance, marking the truth that you have never walked through life alone. There were days when your strength collapsed beneath the weight of burdens, when fear pressed against your chest so tightly that breathing felt like labor, and yet in those days you did not fall into destruction, because God Himself placed His Spirit within you, renewing just enough strength for you to rise again. And those hidden renewals, though small at the time, were testimonies of His mercy, mercy that arrived precisely when it was needed, mercy that whispered to your soul that tomorrow was worth facing, and mercy that now proves His care has always been unbroken. Even the scars you carry are testimonies, for they tell the story of battles survived, valleys crossed, and storms endured, and while the world may see scars as weakness, heaven calls them evidence, evidence that the Father refused to let suffering have the last word, evidence that your pain was met with divine comfort, and evidence that your brokenness was turned into strength. And tonight those scars shine in the eyes of God as reminders of your resilience, of His faithfulness, and of the unshakable truth that nothing has ever been able to separate you from His love. The hour of 11 that approaches is not to be feared, but to be remembered as a marker in your story, a moment when heaven leaned closer to assure you that the same God who carried you before will carry you again, and just as He has turned past struggles into testimonies, He will turn future challenges into new ones, each one revealing a greater depth of His faithfulness, each one adding another layer to the testimony of your life, until your story becomes a living witness of God's unending care. Type "I believe" if you believe miracles are on the way. Remember also the people who came into your life at just the right time, the words of encouragement that reached you when you needed them most, and the moments of relief that broke into your pain when you least expected it, for none of these were accidents, all were woven together by the Spirit of God, who has orchestrated every detail, ensuring that you were never left alone. And tonight He desires that you carry this awareness into tomorrow, so that when fear arises, you can silence it with memory of His faithfulness that has always carried you through. The testimony of your journey is this: God has never failed you, and He will not fail you now, for the same hands that held you in the past are holding you still, the same love that lifted you before is lifting you again, and the same Spirit that guided you through valleys will guide you through what lies ahead. And if you keep this testimony alive in your heart, fear will lose its power, doubt will lose its voice, and peace will remain steady within you, because you will know that He who has always been faithful will always remain faithful. So let this message settle upon you like a gentle reminder, let it stir within you like a song of remembrance, and let it anchor your spirit in the truth that you are surrounded by a cloud of testimonies, each one speaking of love that does not fail, care that does not end, and faithfulness that does not falter. And tonight as the hour passes, hold firmly to these testimonies, for they are not just memories. They are promises of what is yet to come, for the God who was faithful yesterday is faithful today, and will remain faithful forever. And as this testimony comes to a close, let peace fill your heart, let assurance calm your spirit, and let hope rise within your soul, for heaven has declared over you that you are chosen, you are cherished, and you are never abandoned, and this truth, proven in the past and promised for the future, will carry you into tomorrow with courage, strength, and an unshakable awareness of God's everlasting love. Archangel Michael says, "The message that flows tonight is like a vision sent from the throne of heaven, for the Lord is opening a window into the unseen, and through it you are invited to glimpse the reality that has always surrounded you though your eyes could not behold it, and what you will see is not a picture of despair but of hope, not a vision of fear but of promise. For heaven itself is moving close to remind you that your life rests within a greater story than you have ever imagined." I see a house surrounded by darkness, shadows pressing against its walls as if to swallow it whole, and yet in that vision a light begins to shine, soft at first and then brighter, stretching outward until the shadows scatter like mist before the morning sun, and that light is not of earthly flame but of divine presence, the radiance of God's Spirit pouring into the home of His beloved, filling every room, touching every corner, and silencing every whisper of fear, until the house itself becomes a beacon of hope rising in the night. Type 222 if you trust that God is with you always. Above the house there are angels, their wings spread wide like banners of light, their forms gleaming with the brightness of heaven, and they are not silent but singing songs that carry strength, songs that echo through the air like rivers of fire and streams of peace flowing together, and their melody is not one of sorrow but of triumph, declaring that the darkness has no claim, that the fear has no power, and that the future has already been marked by victory that flows from the throne of God. In another vision, I see a path stretching far into the distance, winding through valleys and over mountains, and along that path stands a figure clothed in light, holding out his hand with gentleness and strength, and though the journey seems long, every step is made steady because his hand never lets go, and as you walk with him, the path transforms beneath your feet, where stones once threatened to cause stumbling, flowers begin to bloom, and where shadows once lingered, streams of light begin to flow, reminding you that every step forward is a step deeper into the promise of God's care. I see also a garden, once dry and barren, now blooming with life as if heaven itself has breathed upon it, and in that garden are the seeds of prayers you thought had been forgotten, now bursting into growth, watered by mercy, warmed by grace, and protected by love, and the flowers of that garden are not fragile but strong, their roots deep and their petals radiant, and they testify that nothing planted in faith ever dies. For in God's timing it always rises again, more beautiful and more fruitful than you ever expected. The hour of 11 is shown in vision as a gate, a threshold between what has been and what is to come, and though it appears as a narrow passage, angels stand on either side, guiding you through with hands of light, whispering that this is not a gate of fear but of promise, not a door into despair but into deeper awareness, for on the other side awaits the fullness of peace, the renewal of hope, and the assurance that God Himself is leading you into a future prepared with His love. I see also a storm, clouds heavy and winds fierce, and within it the sound of thunder that shakes the earth. Yet suddenly a figure clothed in white steps into the storm, and at his word the winds bow, the lightning fades, and the waters grow still, and the storm becomes a calm sea reflecting the light of heaven, and the message is clear: the storms of your life may rise, but they will always answer to the authority of the one who reigns above them, and no storm is greater than His voice, no darkness stronger than His light. There is a vision of the heavens themselves opening, light cascading down like rivers of gold, filling the earth with radiance, and within that light a voice speaks, not with thunder but with gentleness, declaring, "You are mine, you are chosen, you are loved," and those words echo not once but again and again, until they settle deep within your heart, silencing doubt, healing wounds, and restoring faith. And that vision is not a dream of the distant future but a reality of tonight, for heaven has declared over you that you belong eternally to God. So let this prophetic vision settle in your spirit as a reminder that what surrounds you is not emptiness but glory, not absence but presence, not despair but love, and even as the night continues, know that heaven is alive around you, angels are watching over you, and the Spirit of God is filling your life with light, peace, and promise, ensuring that nothing can undo the word spoken over you. Type 333 to welcome peace into your heart. And as this part of the message closes, may the visions linger in your heart like living truths, reminding you each day that the unseen is more powerful than the seen, that heaven is closer than you realize, and that the hand of God will always guide you, protect you, and carry you into the fullness of His everlasting love. Archangel Michael says, "Let me walk with you as a shepherd walks beside the sheep, steady and patient, for the Lord desires that you know tonight that His presence is not distant but near, and He is guiding you one step at a time, ensuring that your feet do not stumble, your spirit does not faint, and your heart does not grow weary, because His care for you is as constant as the ground beneath your steps, and His voice is as gentle as the breeze that carries peace into quiet fields." The first thing you must hold is this: God is not rushing you, He is leading you, and His guidance is not harsh but tender, for He understands the weight you have carried and the fears you have struggled against, and He does not demand that you run faster than you are able. Instead, He walks at your side, matching His pace to your strength, carrying you when needed, and pausing when you are too weary to continue. Because His love is not impatient, His mercy is not fleeting, and His care is not conditional, it is steady and everlasting. Like a shepherd who knows each path through valleys and hills, the Lord knows the way before you, and while you may see only the narrow trail beneath your feet, He sees the road ahead in its fullness, every rise, every descent, every bend hidden from your sight, and He guides you carefully, making sure that the path you follow will not lead you astray, and though at times you may resist or wander, He calls you back gently, never with anger, but with a loving firmness that keeps you from danger, and assures you of His unending patience. There are times when the night feels long and silence surrounds you, and in those hours you may think you are walking alone, yet the truth is that the shepherd is closest in the dark, His staff in hand to guard you, His voice near to calm you, and His light guiding your steps so that no shadow can overcome you, and even if wolves of fear rise against you, they will not prevail, because His protection is greater than the threat, and His strength is more than enough to keep you safe until the dawn. The hour of 11 is not a threat but a reminder that the shepherd is awake when others sleep, watchful when others rest, and guarding when others forget, and this hour has been chosen to stir your awareness, to help you see that you are never outside of His care, that His eyes are always upon you, and that no danger can cross the boundary of His love, for the sheep of His fold are never abandoned, never left without guidance, and never forced to face the path alone, and tonight you are reminded that you belong to that fold, safe under His watch. Type 2222 to open the door to new blessings. When thirst overwhelms, the shepherd leads to streams of living water, and when hunger weakens, he leads to fields rich with nourishment, and though the journey at times feels barren, he knows where the refreshment lies, and he will not allow you to collapse before you are restored, for his heart is to sustain, to renew, and to strengthen, and tonight he whispers that every weariness you feel will be lifted, every emptiness will be filled, and every weakness will be answered by his endless supply of strength and peace. And when the path winds toward danger, the shepherd's rod strikes away the threats unseen, his staff draws you back to safety, and his hand rests upon your shoulder to reassure you that no harm will come near, and though you may not see the dangers turned away, trust that countless battles have already been fought on your behalf, battles you never knew existed, yet battles you never had to fight, because the shepherd fought them for you. And tonight he reminds you that your story continues not in fear but in safety, not in abandonment but in protection, and not in weakness but in his strength. The shepherd also knows when to bring rest, for he does not drive his flock endlessly, he leads them into still meadows where peace settles like morning mist and rest restores what was broken. And so he calls you even now to lay down the weight of your burdens, to rest in the assurance that he is carrying what you cannot, and to allow his presence to renew your weary soul, for his love is not only guidance for tomorrow but comfort for today, and his arms are open to hold you until your strength is restored. So as the hour approaches, do not be troubled by what lies ahead, for the shepherd will walk with you into it, leading you step by step, not hurried, not abandoned, but guided with care, and each step will be secured by his love, each turn protected by his presence, and each moment filled with his mercy, and you will discover that even when the path feels uncertain, the shepherd is certain, and his voice will always call you back. His hand will always lift you, and his heart will always guard you. And as this part of the message closes, let peace rise within you like still waters reflecting the sky, let assurance settle upon you like a shepherd's hand resting gently on your shoulder, and let hope strengthen you like the steady ground beneath your feet, for you are not lost, you are not abandoned, and you are not without guidance. You are led by the shepherd of heaven, guarded by his love, and carried in his arms, tonight and forevermore. Archangel Michael says, "Let this message flow over you like a gentle stream, for the Lord desires tonight not to stir fear but to bring healing, to ease the wounds that life has pressed upon your spirit, and to remind you that every scar, every ache, and every tear has been seen by him, gathered into his care, and held within his love, for he is not a distant God who ignores pain, but a present Father who bends low to restore what has been broken and to breathe peace where sorrow once lived." There are places within you that have carried heaviness for too long, places where disappointments linger and the echoes of past hurt still rise, and tonight heaven leans close to touch those places with tenderness, not with judgment but with compassion, not with anger but with gentleness, for the Spirit of God moves like a healing wind, brushing softly over the wounds of your heart, soothing what felt raw, calming what felt restless, and whispering the eternal truth that you are not beyond repair, you are not too far gone, and you are not forgotten in your pain. Type 2121 if you trust God's plan for your life. The healing presence of God is like oil poured over weary skin, seeping into every crack, softening what was hardened, and restoring what felt brittle, and tonight that oil is flowing over you, filling every dry corner of your spirit, bringing comfort where fear lived, and assurance where doubt grew, until you realize that the very places you thought were lifeless are coming alive again, refreshed by His mercy, renewed by His kindness, and restored by His love that knows no limits. Consider how the body heals when given rest and care, for cuts close, bruises fade, and strength returns with time, and so too does the soul heal when placed in the hands of God, for His care is deeper than any human touch, His rest is greater than any earthly sleep, and His renewal is stronger than any medicine, and tonight He extends that renewal to you, breathing life into weary places, placing strength into weak moments, and surrounding you with peace that does not come from circumstance, but from His eternal presence. Amen.